or at home or driving. Killing me with love on Radio 1. LBC, call 0345 6060 973.
So we're back on the big mask ask, which is day one, when the public doesn't just have to wear them in transport hubs, but also supermarkets, banks, and I think post offices. We're going to get to your calls. You've been my eyes and ears on the streets. I've had some extraordinary conversations already. But before I get back to you, I'm very pleased to tell you that tonight we've got Kate Bingham, who's the chair of the UK COVID-19 vaccine, I should say, task force, and she's on the line to tell us. She's got so much to report that I'm going to have to ask Kate to keep it brief. But Kate, first of all, what do you do? What's your job?
Thank you, Rachel, for having me.
That's my pleasure.
My job is very simple. I have been asked to help protect the UK against COVID-19 through vaccination as quickly as we can.
And how's it going? Give us the headlines.
So the headlines is, we don't know whether we're going to be able to get a vaccine. No one's ever got a vaccine before for any coronavirus. We don't have vaccines for HIV or malaria. So we are taking a very broad approach, so that we're looking at securing vaccines to all the different types of vaccines there are. So they have different ways of stimulating the immune system, and so we are taking vaccines from each of those, and it is going well. So we are securing rights, and the UK is going to end up with a broad range of vaccines that we will have already manufactured if and when they're proved to be safe and effective.
You want people to register their interest so that we have as big a sort of pool of possible people to be vaccinated as possible, don't you? Do you want to talk a bit about that and how we're going to scale up so that as many people as possible can benefit from the vaccines?
Yes, that's a great question, Rachel. Thank you. So what we actually want, and all your listeners sitting at home this evening would be great, is to help us do the large clinical trials for the vaccines. So we can't get these vaccines approved by the regulatory authorities unless we can show in large clinical studies that they are both safe and effective. And the early safety testing has already been done. So we are appealing to the public now to register interest on the NHS website, which is www.nhs.uk/coronavirus, and register interest to learn more about clinical trials. And the more people we can have registering interest, the more quickly we can run the clinical trials, and the more quickly we can get to an answer as to whether or not any of these vaccines are safe and effective.
You would have heard that the PM tonight called those who are anti-vaxxers, those who are just say, I'm not ever going to have a vaccine, are nuts. And I want to give you a chance to tell people why they should have a vaccine if it does become available, if not by Christmas, if not never, but there will be something that will at least mitigate the worst effects of this terrible virus, and why people should really go for it.
So I agree with you, Rachel. I do think there will be something. We may not get what's called a sterilising vaccine, and a sterilising vaccine is one that actually prevents infection, but I think it's highly likely we will get a vaccine that actually helps reduce symptoms and stops people from dying. And the reason I would say to the anti-vaxxers that they should consider having a vaccine is just cast your mind back to, say, even the 1970s or before, when millions of children were dying from diseases like smallpox, and these are diseases that can be eliminated through vaccination. And if people don't get vaccinated and you start to reduce the herd immunity, studies that dexamethasone actually works, so it reduces mortality of the infected, severely infected patients by 35%. That's massive. It's a huge win. And Oxford, as you've talked about, is well ahead in the race. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to succeed, but they have vaccinated more people than any other vaccine has yet vaccinated. So they're well ahead in being able to show that their vaccine is safe and effective. So yes, I think we're doing well. We bought, as you mentioned, we bought a new manufacturing plant, and we've got a vaccine manufacturing innovation centre which comes online next year. So that actually, yes, we are in good shape for being better prepared for the next pandemic than going into this one.
Thank you very much. That's the world-beating Kate Bingham on our world-beating progress when it comes to finding a vaccine for the coronavirus. That's Kate Bingham, chair of the UK's COVID-19 Vaccine Task Force. Helen, in Chelmsford, in Essex, you're on the line.
Hello. Firstly, can I say thank you, because I've been listening to LBC throughout the day, and you're the first person who I've heard who's actually considered opposing can't wear masks for various reasons. And I'm an autistic individual. I was late diagnosed. Most people don't actually realise, but one of the big things is confrontation. And as a shop owner, I decided to shut last night the real world aspect of the shop. So I didn't have to deal with the confrontation.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Helen. So you don't want to have to ask people who come into the shop and have that communication and confrontation with them.
No, the majority of the time, I come across as very normal, very friendly, because I get very agitated with confrontation to the point I can pass out and sit. I decided it was easier to walk away from that, and I just spent the last year physically building the workshop and force. But then furtherly opening it up for all of this. All I've heard all day is hard words, not nice words. But the poor people have to actually all wear masks and then look at being looked at as different. To drop off the post, the other part of my business today, I decided it was safest to wear my medical diagnosis around my neck. Because I'm autistic, I was able to get that, but I shouldn't have to.
I can hear, Helen, that it's a very, very anxious time, and all these changes in the rules and the regulations, and something like mask wearing, which is such an obvious thing to have on the face. And I don't know if you heard someone in Scotland said they feel as if they're in a sci-fi movie. I mean, it's not normal to see the public walking around hiding their faces, and I can quite understand that you find it disturbing. And
As an autistic person, well, me personally, I have to see their face to be able to understand what's going on and to read all the
it's a
clues.
really good point.
And in the preceding weeks, because it took me hundreds of pounds to set up to be
COVID secure.
Believe me, as an autistic person, I went and I actually read the guidelines, I went down and I did everything. And even with the people who help me, unless you are willing to be on their case all the time, they're split, and I just decided it wasn't worth it.
Listen, Helen, I'm just going to say one thing. It's not going to last forever, this. I wanted to find out from, the reporter at the top how long he thinks that we're going to have to wear masks. And I think we've just got to be prepared to, a few months maybe going into next year. I know the Prime Minister said that by the middle of next year he thinks it's going to have this thing licked. So just take each day as it comes, I would say, and try.
What I'm doing is I've started up since I've heard this, I've really pushed a secondary business which has got my other skill sets, because I'm lucky that with the autism comes certain skills and certain energies.
What's the other business?
I do tutoring.
Good for
Maths
you.
and science. for jewellery making on various platforms. Throughout COVID, I've done a minimum of 12 hours a day, often up to 16 hours, 7 days a week. And to then end up feeling frightened because of the chance of conflict have just thrown me for six.
I suggest you do what the lady called Hannah did in Marylebone and just put a sign on your shop front saying, please wear a mask. I am autistic. I do not want to ask you to put on a mask and comply with the law. Helen, thank you for your call. It's 6:45 and time for the news headlines with Bill Overton.
3 teenagers have been convicted of the manslaughter of a police officer while trying to avoid arrest. His wife questioned why it wasn't murder. The Prime Minister's admitted gaps in understanding coronavirus and says the outbreak early on could have been handled differently. And retail figures for June show sales rebounding post-lockdown. The weather, rain in Wales and the west spreading east across England, mist and drizzle for Scotland and Northern Ireland, and a low of 13 degrees.
LBC Travel, I'm Dave Goff. On the M25 clockwise, there's a lane closed on the entry slip road at junction 30 for Lakeside because a bus is having a tyre changed. On the M25 clockwise, there are also queues from junction 22 for St Albans to junction 23 for the A1M. That's because of roadworks. Anti-clockwise on the M25, there are still some queues from junction 13 for Staines to junction 11 for Chertsey. It still hasn't recovered after there was an accident earlier on. In Brentwood, it's heavy on the A127 Southend Arturo Road eastbound at the Halfway House roundabout. That's because of a breakdown, so one lane stays closed. And in Park Royal, Acton Lane, North Acton Road and Minerva Road eastbound stay closed after a fire in a building yesterday evening, so there are delays.
Coming up at 7 on LBC, Andrew Pierce.
It's day one of the big cover-up. Did you comply with the law? Did you wear a mask in a shop? Did you wear a mask in a takeaway? Or are you refusing to comply?
Andrew Pierce on LBC.
It's been a tough time for small businesses over the last few months, so many have been using digital tools to adapt during the lockdown. We spoke to some of them.
I'm Lindsay Pollard, the founder of Little Box of Books in Brixton. I realised during lockdown that parents would probably be looking for more books while they were homeschooling their children. So I updated my Google My Business profile and used Google Tools to find new customers for my children's books. Since March, my website visits have tripled and I'm selling more books than ever.
To find out how Google can help your business adapt, visit g.co/smallbusiness.
Dinner Lady Margaret spent her 25-year career laughing and joking with the school children. Then she received a call out of the blue about her pension from what she thought was a reputable firm. But it was a scammer, and her lifetime savings was stolen.
Drives like a dream. I'll take it.
Don't let a scammer enjoy your retirement. Check who you're dealing with. Visit ScamSmart from the Financial Conduct Authority.
Listening has always taught us a lot at Honda. And lately, we've been listening to your thumbs. Because thumbs can do everything now. The world is at their thumb tips. So now, the My Honda Plus app lets the thumb take control of your car too. Even when you're not inside the new Honda E, your thumb can find where you parked, set the temperature before you get in, check how much the battery is charged, and schedule charging for when electricity is cheapest. The new Honda E and My Honda Plus app. Oh, the thumbs up. Honda, the power of dreams.
Zing Flowers, a beautiful way to say, I appreciate you. Order now at zingflowers.com. Amazing every time.
Step aside, ma'am. I'll rescue your cat from that medium-sized tree.
Unfortunately, Pension B can't make you superhero confident, but we can transfer most old pensions together into one simple online plan that's managed by one of the world's largest money managers, for pension peace of mind.
Ma'am, could you call the fire brigade?
Please be pension confident. Download the app or visit pensionb.com to sign up.
Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. Capital at risk. Rachel Johnson on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
As ever, I've been learning an awful lot from your calls, and I've been very happy to take calls from a a couple of people who've been exempt from wearing a mask and have explained how incredibly difficult it is to be on the streets on the day one of the big mask ask, or as Andrew Pierce calls it, the great big cover-up. And Helen, who called from Chelmsford, was very upset because she doesn't want to have to confront people who come into the shop and not wear masks, and also because she can't see people's expressions. I've been told that you can get masks, or there are masks being developed where they're see-through, so you can actually see people's mouths, you can see their expressions, and I hope that's of some comfort to Helen, who may still be listening. Here's a text from Lindsay in Richmond. I'm in intensive care following open heart surgery. These wonderful health professionals are wearing full gowns covered by plastic gowns, covered by plastic aprons, then face masks, then with plastic shields. And we can't wear a light face mask to go into a shop. We should be ashamed. Grow up. More of your calls. Mark in Chelsea. Hi.
Hi there, Rachel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I actually work in the King's Road in one of the big supermarkets.
Oh, I
in
know.
the
Hold
King's
on.
Road.
Waitrose, Marks and Sparks.
Well, it's the second one, but
Okay.
anyway. But do you know what I'd say about, you know, you had someone on earlier saying it was mostly all the older generation. I'll be honest, round here, the younger generation are wearing them more.
Oh.
We had a few abusive customers that didn't want to put them on.
Are you handing them out to people who don't
No,
wear
we're not
them?
handing them out. But we're reminding them as they come through the door. But we had a few people that shouted and screamed, "I'm not wearing a face mask." I don't know.
What, in
But we're not
Chelsea?
policemen at the end of the day. We
In
can't police that.
Chelsea?
You know, you've got to let them carry on. But there's 2 points I'd just like to make about the lady saying about the shop staff not wearing face masks. Matt Hancock actually said that shop staffs were exempt from that.
I think Helen Waitley did as well, didn't she?
Yeah, and another point is Cressida Dick saying ring the police. You know, we can't even get the police there to sort out shoplifters because we have to deal with it ourselves. So I don't know if they're going to come out for someone's not wearing a face mask.
Mark, they're not.
No, they're not going to come.
Which, I
But,
mean,
you know, there is abuse, but, you know, and I went out today and I went to the first shop and you said today, I put my face mask on. I went into Boots, I put my face mask on.
I'm just surprised that people get abusive. I mean, I can imagine them saying, "Oh, I don't have it with me," or "Oh, I didn't know it was today." But I can't imagine them actually getting cross with you for asking them to comply
Oh, they
with the
do.
law.
Rachel, they do. And you do get abuse. The poor girl that was on the door asking, "Have you got face covering today?" She got a few abuses from people.
What percentage of your customers do you think weren't wearing a mask?
Not a lot, actually. Most people were. The older, and I'll be honest, the younger generation are wearing them.
They are.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh dear. Strange
There we go.
times.
What do we do?
Well, I think we just try and get our heads down and get on with it.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's not pretty, is it? But
No,
you know,
it's
it's
not.
just the
But,
way
you know,
of the
some
world.
people abide by it and some people don't. So,